Thank you so much. Mimi naitwa Kubende Franklin Msikoyo. Hapa leo nashangaa kuwa ati James Orengo, gavana wa Siaya, akiongea ukweli anatishwa. Mimi leo nataka niambie viongozi ambao wako katika Kenya Kwanza that wakubali ukweli kuwa gavana alisema kile ambacho kinafanyika Kenya hii ni kuwa umaskini unazidi kukua mwingi kila siku, usiku na mchana. And sincerely, huwezi kuwa unatishia gavana akisema ukweli ati wanasema utafanya impeachment. No. In truthness, hakuna. Education is bad, health is bad, everything is bad. Na government inafaa ikuja iseme kile ambacho wamefanya kwa wananchi. Mimi kama Kubende nitapitisha mtihani. Thank you so much, and that's the only thing I have.
Thank you so much, fellow Kenyans. First of all, my name is Babu, and we are here to put a clarity and add our voices to what the Siaya Governor James Orengo mentioned previously. We have noted that he has faced criticism and castigation from a section of leaders, including the budget chair, Sama Tandi. We want to say that what Orengo said about the suffering of Kenyans is the real position. That's the truth of the matter on the ground. And Orengo is a governor who interacts with the locals and the wananchi on a daily basis. This is one person who does not reside in the CBD like the budget chair resides in city. This is one person who receives guests, mothers, children, orphans, and people across the county on a daily basis, morning and evening, asking for support, asking for whatever they're going to put on the table, asking for school fees, asking for medication. And when he talks about the status of health, the status of unemployment, when he mentions issues about high taxation, a section of leaders who have decided to serve their selfish interest are now castigating and trying to make it look like those are not the situations. I want to tell Kenyans and those leaders who are castigating those sentiments that those are the actual truth, and that is the position that this country is. It is clear and nothing further from the truth that Kenya Kwanza under the regime of President Ruto has eroded the trust of Kenyans into this government. The Kenya Kwanza has done nothing to sort out the issues of health, high taxation, unemployment of young people. And those are the sentiments that the governor mentioned. I want to say that we must be true to each other. We must be true to Kenyans, and we must be true to each and every decision we make as leaders. The group led by a section of young leaders from the Nyanza region who called themselves the professionals must understand that the governor or leaders in this country who comes out to call this government to do the right thing do not hate the president, but they hate or they have issues with how the government is running affairs of this nation. This country is for all of us, and as young people, we must make them reminded that we are not going to sit down and watch them destroy a country and leave us with debts to deal with. We are not going to let them destroy a country and leave us with a destroyed country for us to repay. We do not have the materials to do the repairs and repayments of this country. So the president must take responsibility and take up what Orengo said and do the corrections. I want to make it clear to those people who are castigating the governor that, number one, the president himself has not come out to refute or deny that what the governor said is a lie.
Yes.
Number two, the governor listens and interacts with people daily, and he was speaking on behalf of people of Siaya and Kenyans at large. Number three, they must understand, most of the section of the so-called professionals, that they are not MCAs in Siaya, and most of them are not voters in Siaya, and therefore they do not have the constitutional mandate to threaten the governor with impeachment. The people of Siaya have not come out in any form of demonstration to say that what governor said is not the truth, it's not the actual truth of what's happening in Siaya, because they know the governor spoke the reality of the things they experience daily. The people of Siaya have not denied the fact that they cannot access health, they cannot access education, they cannot get employment. The taxation, business are collapsing. They have not denied the fact that what the governor said is the truth. And the professionals, those who call themselves the professionals, must understand that this country is for all of us. And each and every person has a responsibility to put the government of the day on check. And therefore, they must restrain from warning and issuing threats to Governor James Orengo, who came out and spoke on behalf of millions and millions of Kenya and spoke truth to power. If they're talking about Orengo, embarrassing Raila Odinga, Raila has not spoken. Friends of Raila have not spoken. People, associates of Raila Odinga have not said that they were embarrassed. Because recently we saw Raila talking about the reconstitution of NGCDF, and he was categorical with the MPs to ensure that they work according to the constitution, they do their responsibilities. Why did they say that Raila is embarrassing the president? Orengo called the president to do what he took off of. And he called the president to ensure that whatever he's doing is in line with the constitution. And the sole responsibility is to ensure that each and every Kenyan can live affordably, can access affordable education, can access affordable healthcare, and can access, can have easy environments to do business. And therefore, I want to finish by saying that we must call on leaders who want to masquerade and push for their selfish interest. As a young people, we must not allow such characters to take any space of leadership. And therefore, the characters calling themselves professionals, you must be informed that we are also professionals. And we've not come out to castigate any of you for supporting the government, despite the fact that we are aware that this government has failed in all spheres of representation, in all spheres of development. There's nothing that President Ruto and Kenya Kwanza can stand and say proudly that we have pushed or delivered, apart from pushing corruptions. I want to also put on record that the president today rejected the assentment into law, the conflict of interest bill, which is supposed to actually propagate and propel the fight against corruption. That is a clear indication that he is not in support of fight against corruption. But anyway, what do you expect? How do you expect the lead procurement officer to sign into a law something that will shoot himself on the feet? In fact, if you look at Kenya Kwanza as it is today, if that bill comes into act, nobody in Kenya Kwanza, I mean nobody, including the president himself, will survive the wrath of the law. And that's why maybe he opted to play a safe game and fail to sign it. But we want to tell him, the Kenya Kwanza regime, led by the president, that this country we are watching, we are awake, and the fight against corruption is not a responsibility of an individual. It is a collective responsibility. And that bill, if you found it not sufficient, come out clean and tell Kenyans that this bill was not signed into law because of 1, 2, 3, because of the following sections or acts, so that we get to understand why didn't you sign the bill. But until then, we are going to assume that you are part and parcel of the problem. You are part and parcel of the barriers towards fight against corruption. Right. Come out, the president, and sign the conflict of interest bill into law. We must find and end the corruption in this country. Maybe my colleagues...
Sufficient. Yeah, I just want to support my countrymen here that it's really unfortunate that anyone who rises in opposition of what the government is doing, they state out sanctions. You know, we have a constitution, and in a democracy, the sentiments by one James Orengo are protected, or his right is enshrined in the constitution, and whatever he did is under the law. And I'm shocked because the president actually warned Sifuna that he'll sanction him because he was the founder member of ODM. And no sooner had he left, that now the members of ODM started castigating a governor who actually fought for multi-party democracy in this country, a governor who helped the nation to kick out the dictatorial leadership of one Moi. So we are calling upon them. You know, you cannot, you know, Orengo is a very steady man. It's not someone you can just throw tantrums over and expect him to cower. That's a man that has stood the test of time. That's a man who knows what he's saying. That's a man who stands with the truth no matter what. And we are actually congratulating Orengo as young people in this country that you actually did us proud. You are talking on our behalf. You talked the same language we would have talked if we were in your position. And therefore, do not be cowed, do not be terrified, do not be afraid. We are behind you. We are behind your sentiments, because that's the Kenya we believe in. On issues to do with the bill that the president refused to assent into law, Kenyans would recall that just the other day, JB Muturi, the CS that was fired for public service, you'd recall that he actually alleged that the president was forcing him to get into corrupt deals in this country. Just few days, I doubt a week is due, and the president is refusing to assent into law a bill that actually would block such attempts by any leader, to force corruption activity in the government because of the conflict of interest. So the problem is Ruto. There's no need to mince our words. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what the bill would have done to him. He knows why he did not sign the law. And the reason is simple. He's the senior corrupt man in this country. He's the most corrupt person. How would he? How would he? It's like telling a drunkard to sign into law a bill that would prevent alcohol from being brewed. Ruto cannot accept such things. So we are telling him, even if you refuse to assent that bill into law, and I'm calling upon the parliament, what are you doing? That's a reason enough to actually initiate an impeachment motion against the president, because you're the most powerful government institution of government. You're the most powerful. When the president is frustrating bills that are originating from house, that's impunity. That's impunity. I would have expected that someone from parliament, and it's something that I'll be looking forward to see whether there'll be an MP who will come up and actually institute an impeachment motion against the president for refusing to assent a bill that has been passed by parliament, a bill that is helpful to the people, a bill that is not harmful, a bill that would help the country to fight corruption. Thank you very much. That's my statements.
I think that was quite sufficient. And just to add into what we have mentioned, we saw the Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi gave a detailed report in Parliament recently. But we want to make it clear that we are so much keen on the capitations that goes to school, because that is where the problem starts. It is quite clear that the capitation as per government should be around 47,000 per student. But again, we are so much concerned with the amount that arrives in schools, the amount that the schools received, because it's not something more than 16,000. So we are asking John Mbadi and the Treasury and the MPs. We are telling you that Kenyans are awake and we are looking. If you are not going to explain to each and every person in this country where the deficit goes, because you can ask yourself, if the capitation is marked at 47,000 per student, and we only get 16,000, and we have like about 5 million students, that is a lot of money that goes somewhere that we are not able to to understand who is receiving the money. So we also putting you to question and ask that you have to provide clarity on those cashes. You have to provide clarity on how much should a student receive and how much are they receiving as at now, and you must provide clarity and onto where the deficit of that money goes to, because we are messing the education system and we are messing the entire country. And we want to tell President, we do not have any problem with you as a person. We have a problem with how you are mismanaging this country. You were once a young person and you do not have the advantage of being young again. But we are certain that one day we are going to be your age. You cannot, and we cannot sit down and watch you mismanage this nation and you leave it to us destroyed and completely shattered for us to deal with it. So we do not have a problem with you as a person. In fact, if you could have resigned today, nobody will talk about you. Exactly. So just run the country in accordance to the law. Sign the conflict of interest bill into law so that we can deal with the corrupt individuals in this country perpendicularly, decisively, actionally, in accordance with the law. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I believe that we'll keep in touch.